and welcome to my tutorial for Faith and Wonder by Meredith Andrews. Today I'll be teaching you how to play Faith and Wonder. Not the upper room version, which is similar to what I'll be teaching you, but the Meredith Andrews version. So, let's hop right into it. Okay, so there are 4 parts to this song that I will be teaching you. I'll be teaching you the verse, I'll be teaching you the chorus, I'll be teaching you the first bridge, and I'll be teaching you the second bridge. Okay? Now before I get into teaching, just a little note as to where the bridges go. Bridge 1 always goes after the chorus. You don't have to play it after the chorus, as in, like, once you've gone through the chorus once, you don't have to play bridge 1 if you want to, but you can't really play bridge 1 anywhere else in the order of the song. It just doesn't fit. And bridge 2, I guess you could put it anywhere, but it sounds best if you put it right after the chorus or another bridge. Okay? So, let's hop right into it. We'll be breaking this song up into its 4 parts. The verse, the chorus, the first bridge, and the second bridge. Okay? And for each of those parts, I will teach you the basic chord progression. I'll be teaching you the specific chord inversions that Meredith Andrews uses in her recording. And I'll be teaching you the melody, if you want to play the melody along with the bass in the left hand. Okay? So, let's start with the verse. Okay? So, this song is in the key of B flat. So, and the chords that we'll be using are very standard CCM, parts of a key. You have the major chord, which is B flat. Then we'll also be using the 4th, which is E flat. Then we'll also be using the minor 6th, which is G minor. And then we'll be using the 5th, which is F major. Now, those are the 4 chords that will be used in all of the parts of the song. In the verse, though, there is one other chord that we're going to be using right at the very end. You only use it once in the entire song, okay? Just at the very end of the verse. And that is C minor 7. Okay? So those are the 4 main chords and the 1 off chord that we're going to be working with, okay? So the chord not the chord inversion, but the basic chord progression for the verse is as follows. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And basically almost that 4 times over, okay? So the first chord is E flat. Okay? Then the next chord is B flat. Then the next chord is G minor. Then the next chord is F. Okay? So, I will play through the verse once for you, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So, that is the verse. And that I just did at the end there is where the C minor comes in, okay? So measures 1 through 6 of the chorus are basically that one little pattern that I showed you over 3 times, okay? So it's that 3 times over, and then in measures 7 and 8 of the verse, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have 1 measure of E flat, and then 1 measure of C minor 7. So, I'm now going to go through the chord progression for the verse from the very beginning, counting it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, that's the basic chord progression for the verse. Now we'll show you the specific inversions for the verse. Now, the specific inversions are what I just showed you in the basic chord progression video. I'm not going to be changing what I'm playing, but I'm going to be showing you what I am playing, okay? So, all of these inversions involve just the left hand carrying the root, okay? So, if the chord is E flat, no matter what the right hand is doing over here, the left hand is always just going to have an E flat, okay? So, one E flat, or like I'm doing it, two E flats, okay? So that applies to the entirety of the song, every chord in this song. So the specific inversioning that I use for the verse is, and that Meredith Andrews uses for the verse, is you have E flat in the left hand, then in the right hand you have G, then B flat, then E flat, okay? So that, and then you go to B flat, which is B flat in the left hand, and then you have F, B flat, and then D. That. And then the inversion for G minor, which is the next chord, is you have a G in the left hand, and in the right hand you have D, G, and B flat. Then the inversion for the F chord is you have F in the left hand, then in the right hand you have C, F, and then A. Okay? So the pattern of the verse that repeats itself 3 times through is E flat, G, B flat, E flat, B flat, F, B flat, D, G minor, D, G, B flat, then F, C, F, A. Okay? And then the last little bit, like I showed you in the chord progression, that's different, where you just have a measure of E flat and then a measure of C minor 7. The inversions for that are the E flat chord for that is E flat in the left hand, and in the right hand you have E flat, then G, and then B flat. And then for C minor 7, you have C in the left hand, and in the right hand you have C, E flat, G, then B flat. And if like you have smaller hands or you just don't want to stretch your hands that far, you can just basically play in E flat like you were before over a C in the left hand. So like that. Okay, but if you want a nicer, fuller chord, get all 4 tones of that. Okay, so again, the entire verse through, and I'll play that through, and pay attention to the inversions. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So that is the chord inversion and all of the chord inversions for the verse. Okay? So now I'll show you the melody for the verse. So here is the melody for the verse. Now what I'll be doing is I'm going to be giving you the order of the notes, and then I'm going to play it through for you and count it out so that you can actually hear what it sounds like. Okay? So here is the order of the notes for the melody. So the first 6 measures, much like the chord progression for the first 6 measures, the melody is very similar if you divide it up into like 2 measure sections. I'll show you what I mean and you'll get it. Okay, so the first bit of the melody is you have B flat, then G, then 2 Fs, then 2 Ds, then 2 Cs. So that would sound like. Okay? Then the next little bit is just a little bit different at the beginning, but the same throughout the rest. So you have B flat, then D, then F, and then this is what we know. We have G, then 2 Fs, then 2 Ds, then 2 Cs. Okay? So then we have almost the exact same thing over again, except that the melody begins on B flat up here, not B flat down here, but an octave higher up. So we have B flat, then we have A, then G, then two Fs, then two Ds, then two Cs, like we had before. Okay? Then measures 7 and 8, much like the chord progression. The chord progression is different. It has E flat and then C minor 7. The melody for that will go like B flat, then C, then D, then C, then B flat, then C, then G. Okay? And that would sound like. Okay? Then we do almost the exact same thing over again, but we take out the B flat at the beginning. So you go C, D, C, B flat, C, G. Okay? And that sounds like. So, the whole melody through would sound like this. Now I'm going to go through that again, but counting. But the thing is, if I were to count it at a normal pace, like count it at the tempo that the song is actually going at, I would be counting like 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and I don't have that much breath, and I'm asthmatic, so that would kill me. So I'm actually going to count like that, but slow the tempo of the song down. So I'll be counting more like 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E, okay? So we'll go through it that slowly one time, getting the timing of it down, and then I'll play through it one last time at a normal tempo for you guys, okay? So here goes. 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. Okay? And from there you can head into the bridge or the chorus. So I'll play through that once more now that you actually have the timing. Okay? So. Okay, so that is the melody for the verse. Now let's head into the chord progression for the chorus. Okay, so here is the chord progression for the chorus. It's very, very similar to the chord progression for the verse, except that we remove the B flat. I'll show you what I mean and you'll understand pretty quickly. So, the chord progression for the chorus sounds something like this. That is the chord progression for the chorus. It's very simple, and it's pretty much just the same thing 4 times over. Okay? So, the chord progression 4 times over. So this times 4 would make up the chord progression for the chorus. Okay? So, first you have an E flat, then you have G flat, then F, and then you do that, you do that 8 times over. Sorry, you do this twice 4 times over. So I'll do the entire chord progression for the course and count it out for you. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you head either into the bridge or the verse or something else. So that's the chord progression for the course. Now I'll show you the specific chord inversions for the course. So here are the specific inversions for the course. It's what I was just playing here, but now I'll show you what I was playing here. It's very, very simple. Like I told you about the chord progression, it's the same thing 8 times over. So the thing that you're going to be doing 8 times over is you have E flat in the left hand, and then in the right hand you have E flat, then G, then B flat. Then the move to G minor has a G in the left hand, and in the right hand you have D, G, and B flat. And then the move to F major is you have an F in the left hand, and then you have in the right hand a C, F, and then A. Okay? So, those are the inversions for the course. I'll play through it once more for you, and really pay attention to the inversions, okay? So, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're done with the chorus. Okay? So now I'll be showing you the melody for the chorus. Okay, now here is the melody for the chorus. I'll give you the order of the notes and then play through it counting like I did before, slowing the tempo down. Then I'll play through it again, not counting, but you having already seen the tempo so that you know how the tempo goes at a normal speed, okay? So it starts with F, then you have G, then B flat, then G, then B flat, then G, and then almost that exact same thing over again, but you have F, then G, then B flat, then G, then B flat, and then A instead of a G. And then you have 2 B flats, then a G, very quickly moving to an F. Then you have 2 B flats, and then an A. Okay? And then if you do that exact same thing again, that is the melody of the chorus. So the whole thing through, counted slower than the normal tempo, is going to be this. 3 and a 4, 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. So that's the melody for the chorus. Now I'll play it through one time for you, normal speed, okay? So. chorus. So now I'll be showing you the basic chord progression for bridge 1. Okay, now I have to admit something. Technically, this isn't called bridge 1, and technically bridge 2 isn't called bridge 2. It's just that they're not specifically called anything specifically in the music, so in order to break it down into basic parts, I have to identify the bridges as some number of bridges and give each bridge a number. So this bridge here I'm going to be calling bridge 1. It's not technically called bridge 1, but I'm going to call it that. So, bridge 1, the chord progression for it is, you have, it's actually the exact same thing as the chorus. You have E flat, and then G minor, then F, then E flat again, and then G minor again, and then F again. And you just repeat that however many times you want. So that was pretty easy. So now I'll go through it again and count it for you, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's the chord progression for bridge 1. Pretty simple. Now I'll move on to the specific inversions for bridge 1. Okay, so here are the specific inversions for bridge 1. It's not just going to be inversions though, it's also going to be a little bit of a single note melody kind of. It's not the melody that the vocals have, which I'll be showing you in the next part of the video, but it's, you'll see what I mean, okay? So in the recording, I'm counting bridge 1 as there is power in the name of Jesus, okay? And that's what I'm classifying as bridge 1. That's the bridge I've chosen to call number 1. So the first chord of that is E flat. Oh, and the chord progression for this bridge, by the way, is the exact same as the chorus. So the first chord is E flat. And then what you do is you come up here and you hit a single note melodic progression here, which is that you hit B flat, then A, then G, then F, then C. Okay, I'll play that through once for you so you can get what it's kind of like. So it's like, okay, so and the specific inversion for E flat is you have a B flat, then an E flat, then a G, okay? Then followed by that kind of little melody, B flat, then A, then G, and then you rock from the F to the C. Also on the recording a couple times, the piano player goes from the F to the lower C, like, but either way you're rocking from F to C, okay? So, now I'll play it through for you once, counting out the beat of it, okay? So, 3, 3, and a 4, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a. And that is bridge 1. And all of its inversions. So now I'll be showing you the melody for bridge 1. So here is the melody for bridge 1. Okay, so like I said before, the bridge is the There is Power in the Name of Jesus one. Okay, so it starts on D, then we have F, then C, then B flat, then D, then F, then D, then C, not C, B flat, then C, then B flat. Okay? And then you repeat that again, and that is bridge 1. Okay? So, The entire thing through bridge 1, counted at a slower tempo, is going to be this. So it's like, I actually won't have to count too much slower because I only will have to divide it into 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and instead of 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. So here goes. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 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 3 and 4 and... So that is the melody for bridge 1. Now, a little bit of a note about bridge 1. Bridge 1 can only be played after a chorus. It doesn't sound right anywhere else. So you don't have to play bridge 1 after a chorus, but you can't play bridge 1 anywhere else. Okay, so if you're going to play bridge 1 somewhere, it has to be right after a chorus. So that is all of bridge 1. Now I'll show you the chord progression for bridge 2. Okay, so here's the chord progression for bridge 2. And it should be super easy to learn because you already know it. It's the exact same chord progression as the chord progression for bridge 1. Okay? So the chord progression for bridge 2 is E flat, then G minor, then F, and you repeat that over and over again. Okay? So all of bridge 2 through once, I'll count it out for you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it. So now I'll move on to the chord inversions for bridge 2. Okay, so unlike the chord progression for bridge 1, the chord inversions for bridge 2 are not the exact same as the ones for bridge 1. Bridge 2 doesn't have you doing Bridge 2 doesn't have any of that. And bridge 2, again for reference, since I'm just making up specific numbers for the bridges, bridge 2 is the Jesus and then Jesus again. So basically they're just singing Jesus, and that's bridge 2. So the specific chord inversions for bridge 2 are, you have E flat in the left hand, and then in the right hand you will have E flat, then G, then B flat. Okay? Then the G minor chord is, so you have D, G, then B flat, then the F chord is F in the left hand, and then C, then F, and then A. Okay? And it's just that repeated several times. So, all of bridge 2 counted out, and I'll count it out for you. And be sure to pay attention to the specific inversions, okay? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay? So, that is the specific inversions for bridge 2. Now I'll show you the melody for bridge 2. Okay, so here is the melody for bridge 2. You have F, then G, then B flat, then C, then B flat twice. And then you do almost that exact same thing over again. So you have F, G, B flat, C, B flat twice, but then you move down to an A, okay? And then you repeat that again, and that is one run through of bridge 2, okay? So it sounds like... And so that is bridge 2. So now I'll go through it again, but count it out slowly for you guys, okay? So... 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 that is all of Bridge 2. Just one more small thing about this song. About halfway through in the recording, they stopped doing the chord progression because the chorus and both of the bridges have the same chord progression. It's, E flat, then G minor, then F, right? But about halfway through the recording, they change it up and they stop doing a G minor and they start doing a B flat major. Okay? So like instead of the first bit of the verse sounding like it sounds like just a little bit more cheery, just a little bit less, like G minor is, of course, like a sad chord. So it eliminates that sad chord and makes it sound just a little bit more happy, okay? So, and it does that moving forward for all of the choruses that they play and all of the bridges that they play, okay? So just know that if you want to at any point, if you want to change it up in the song, you and your worship team want to make it a little more cheerful halfway through the song, you can change that inversion of, G minor. You can very easily just move that G down to an F and make it B flat. So that's all that I have to teach you about the song. Thank you for watching my piano tutorial on Faith and Wonder by Meredith Andrews. I hope I could be of help to you and your piano playing endeavors. Hope you liked the video and have a great day.